Thank you, Senator Reid. Senator Cotton.
Gentlemen, welcome back. Admiral, let's take a step back to first principles. We've talked a lot here about the threat that China poses to Taiwan and what you're doing to try to address that threat. I'd like you to explain why that threat is so severe. You know, some people might look at the map and say, well, Taiwan is a small island and it's really far from us and it's really close to them. And China has marched into Tibet in the past, and they've marched into Hong Kong in the past, and that was bad, and they shouldn't have done those things. But it didn't lead to World War, and it didn't lead to Great Depression. On the other side, you've got one of your ancestors, so to speak, Douglas MacArthur, who said at the dawn of the Korean War that the domination of Taiwan by an unfriendly power would be a disaster of utmost importance to the United States. He was speaking then, as we do today, of communist China. Ian Easton, a Naval War College professor and one of the military's leading experts on Taiwan, says that it's possible that the Chinese invasion of Taiwan would cause a 21st century version of the Great Depression. And the famed investor Ken Griffin put it more bluntly, it's an immediate Great Depression. So why is it that Taiwan is different? Why is Taiwan such a hot flashpoint? Why could it lead not only to a catastrophic war, but also global Great Depression? Why should Americans care about an island on the other side of the world?
Senator Cotton, that last point is quite salient. Many a research organization postulate that conflict in the Western Pacific over the Taiwan question would result in a 25% GDP contraction in Asia and a knock-on effect of 10 to 12% GDP reduction in the United States of America, with unemployment spiking 7 to 10 points above base and likely 500,000 excess deaths of despair above base as well. And this is just the importance of the regional stability to the world economy and its effect on people's lives. And this is as a function of freedom of navigation. It's a function of the world dependency on semiconductors. In the longer term, for the United States, our strategic center of gravity is our network of alliances and partners. The sum total of 350 million people's talent, 130 million Japanese, 130 million Philippines, 25 million Australians, not to mention 500 million in Europe, as well as partners in across the globe. The knock-on effect of the brittleness of that network of alliances and partnerships means that some of the states could confer and submit to the PRC's mode of exploitation en route to their long-range goal of setting the rules of the world and reaping the benefits of that. And then finally, some nations in the area of responsibility will submit, but others, it would never happen just because of the historic tensions. And in that case, the proliferation question comes to mind, with nuclear-armed states that are treaty allies with the United States and minimal warning for launch among those nuclear states. It is of vital interest for the United States. My job is to have a force ready to make those choices. You know, I don't make the choices on whether or not it's important or not. I'm explicating how it is, and my job is to present those options to the Commander-in-Chief to be ready to fight and win.
And to be clear, a lot, if not all of those consequences would follow whatever the outcome of a conflict over Taiwan, whether China succeeds in going for the jugular or fails, or there's some kind of indecisive outcome. Simply having the conflict over Taiwan, which is such a center of gravity in the modern economy, could lead to many of the consequences you just outlined.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can't quote the source. I will later, but most of the things I've studied indicate that American intervention would have that impact. A successful American intervention would potentially do so. So still a grave result, but half as grave with savings of a lot of human misery.
So the key then is to prevent the war from happening in the first place. We don't want to be in a situation where we have to win a war over Taiwan. We want to stop it from happening. And the way to do that is through strong military and resolute, confident leadership. What do you need most that you don't have right now to deter that conflict from happening in the first place?
Senator, counter C5ISR capabilities in cyber, space, counterspace to ensure that the United States can see, understand, decide, act, assess, learn faster than the PRC can, to enhance our ability to blind, to deceive, and to destroy the adversary's ability to see and sense. And then in addition, the requirement to effect those long-range fires and effects that make the joint force effective in attacking centers of gravity, the platforms that they ride on, the sustainment that sustains them, absolutely key and critical foundation, and then the critical infrastructure across the theater that enables the force to reach the principles of expanded maneuver and puts geography on our side, which it is.
Thank you.